I have a confession.
Oh my God, tell me.
I totally applied for the PPP and actually got money this time.
Oh my God. Me
I know. Oh my God, we both got money. It's amazing. So I did want to take a second and talk about the PPP, guys. There is a little bit of time still. Even if you're hearing this right now, March 31st is the deadline.
Mm-hmm.
So get out there, estheticians, salon owners, business owners of all kinds.
Even if you have no employees.
Yeah, if you could be a sole proprietor, you are entitled to money if there's only a certain pot. I always call this like a land grab, guys. Like you're going west and you're trying to grab some California land.
It's also it's like that phone booth game, you know, where you're like in the phone booth and the fan turns on and there's just like money and you're just grabbing the money,
putting it in your shirt,
bra, like wherever you can, just grab your money and take it from Uncle Sam.
But there were some new changes to it, guys. So what's really nice about this is that you are now looking at line 7, which is what your gross income was, not your net. So, you know, like many of us, we actually have a lot of write-offs. Mm-hmm. So we have a very puny income, but now it's how much you actually, the business earned. Not how much you earned, but the business.
Yes.
So instead of me getting like a small, pathetic amount, I got a real amount, which was great because that's what my business actually needs to run. Mm-hmm. Right. So guys, do it. Do it. Anyway, best of luck.
I feel like our success with PPP is really just talking to multiple people about what to do. The one that worked for me ended up being for my tax preparer. She's like, oh my God, just how have you not gotten money yet? Just like send me a website. So like just keep applying and keep grabbing and
keep trying.
And because the same day that I did, I think it's like Liberty SBF or something. The same day that they sent me my documents to sign, Square Capital said, we can't give you money. Right. So it's just like, it makes no sense at all.
Yeah. And I had a bunch of other ones that were foundering. So you never know. One of the things I did learn was that if you had an idle loan, which I have, do not put that you are trying to roll it in. Because most of us, and that's why I didn't get the first round, because most of us do not have enough income to cover the full amount of that loan. And that is what they're actually asking. They're like, hi, do you have enough money for us to pay off that loan in totality with the money that we're giving you?
And the answer is no. And then I'm like, wait, why did you give me all that money? But thank you for it.
Right. So don't tell them, unless you fall into the small category. It'll say like, did you get an idle between this date and this date?
Yeah, January.
You have to tell them. Right. But otherwise be like, no, I don't want to tie my idle in, because otherwise they're just going to deny you.
What idle? I know.
Yeah. Just be like, no, I don't have to tell you because I'm not trying for you to pay off my idle.
Yeah.
No. All right.
Just ask lots of people and figure out how to make it happen.
Right. So that is what we're saying. Okay, enough of our awesome confessions.
Thanks for the money.
Yay! Good luck, everyone. All right, let's get this show on the road. Hi, I'm Sybil Solon. I'm an esthetician and spa owner.
And hi, I'm Alex Ellis. I'm a body nerd and wellness expert, and we are business besties.
And bosses. Running your own business, it's hard.
But we are terrible employees, so we're figuring it out.
I've already figured it out clearly, but we promise to tell you everything we know about what it takes to make a 6-figure income and beyond.
And be brutally honest about what works and what totally sucks.
So a bunch of it totally sucks, but...
so much.
But let's get started anyways.
Yeah, I'm in a season of life where it all sucks right now. So if you're in the trenches, I am here in solidarity with you. Yes. All right, welcome back to Skinfessional. On today's show, we are talking about safety and how to feel safe in your studio and your spa and your salon and your place of business.
Yes, and how to create a safe space for yourself and for your clients.
Yes. So as we are recording this, it is Friday, March 19th. As you probably know, there has been a shooting in Atlanta where 7?
I know, the numbers keep getting bigger.
Yeah. 8 people have been murdered by what appears to be a lone gunman. And it happened in a massage parlor. And spas and just places where we go, I mean, where we work, right?
Right.
And also you go to be rejuvenated and taken care of. And
you don't usually feel not safe.
No.
Yeah. I mean, I've never walked into a spa and been like, dude, I think I'm going to get gunned down here today.
No.
Yeah. But as a spa owner, this really hit me hard because I have actually felt very unsafe in my spa before. Mm-hmm. And when I read this, I felt very triggered. Mm-hmm. And I reached out to the community of spa owners, and I realized that a lot of us have had the same problems, that we have felt unsafe, and we do a lot of things to work around feeling safe in our location because we work alone. We mm-hmm. often work late at night. We work on people sometimes that we don't know. They come into our space and we're like, I don't know you. I've never met you before. And we deal with some crazy people. Mm-hmm. So, this guy clearly was crazy, and I think he had gone to these places before maybe, but yeah. And,
I mean, but even so, I feel too like, oh, he's crazy is like a justification. I'm not saying that you're justifying, but I just feel like that's an excuse. And it's just, we live in a world where as women, right, we need to be talking about how to keep ourselves safe because, and at the same time demand that everybody else does better. Right. So that, we don't feel unsafe going to work. We don't feel unsafe walking to our cars at night and, all of that.
And this, I mean, and I'm going to, we're going to get pretty deep into this. I know for myself. So I had a studio where I literally, because I had high profile clients, I had like 4 doors because I would have people come in one door and leave another door. And I had a bathroom door, and I made sure those locks were locked at different times. And I had a front entrance and a back entrance. And I was in what people consider a sketchy part of town, which
more like industrial. So there was very industrial
traffic
and stuff.
Right. But people would like come by and they'd be like, where the hell am I? Mm-hmm. Right. Because it was Burbank. So nothing.
They didn't like those insulation guys in the alley
or the music studio guys who are like, we're always there, who are like smoking weed in the hallway.
They're making art.
But, we choose our locations often because we want to feel safe. And when I talk to a bunch of other owners about this, I ask them, I'm like, so how do you choose your location? And so many of them, when they bought their first space, they might not have thought about it. When they got their second space, it was a huge thought.
Yeah.
Right. And I know that for me, it was as well. My very first location, I never thought about, are my clients going to feel safe? Am I going to feel safe here? By the time I hit my second or third location, it was high up on my priority list.
Yeah.
Because you can feel very unsafe in some of your spaces, and you don't think about the fact that you might be working till midnight, that you might be working alone on a Sunday when no one is around. Mm-hmm. Right.
I remember, one of my first jobs actually in the yoga studio, I started working there when I was in high school, and I would close up at night. And then when I started teaching there after college, I would teach the last class of the night. We would finish. It'd be about like 8:45, 9 o'clock. And I was the last person there. Mm-hmm. Students would wait with me as I finished stuff up, which was awesome because then I wouldn't have to be alone. But then there were times too where someone was hanging around where I'm like, you need to just go, where I literally have to like usher people out the door and then like lock the door behind them. Mm-hmm. And so in a spa too, it's different because it is just you and perhaps that one other person that you do or do not know. And like, because I know you've like kicked people out of your studio before, but it's just, we need to be thinking about this stuff because if you're not, I'm the type of person I want to know, I want to be prepared. I want to have all the information I can so that I feel more comfortable in at least knowing what I could be doing, which is why we wanted to have this conversation today.
Absolutely. And I've always thought to myself that I have been pretty prepared. And yet there have been 3 instances in my studio where I have been incredibly scared. And I am not a small woman, and I don't live my life in fear. And I have been scared. And by the way, one of them was from a small female.
Wait, what?
Right. I think I told you, like, I was incredibly scared by a small woman. And because she was just seemed very mentally unbalanced.
Oh, I remember this.
Because I remember I think I called you and I was like, she stood outside my door afterwards and paced. And I was like, I could have been killed, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So it's not just men, guys. It could be anyone.
Mm-hmm.
I felt very threatened by people. And so we also deal with people in intimate settings. You know, we have talked about before, you know, dealing with men and like when we're waxing them and, you know, seeing their private parts, but they lie in our beds. Women also lie in our beds and they are in a vulnerable position. And I have thought to myself, what if I left and I came back and somebody was dead on my bed? And I know nobody else thinks about that, but I was like, what would I say if somebody was murdered on my bed and I came back and it was just a bunch of blood?
What the fuck?
This is the stuff that's gone through my head.
Oh my God. But even if like, what if someone had like a heart attack on your bed?
That I wouldn't stress out nearly as much but like somebody being murdered on my bed would stress me out. I watch way too much crime shows.
Oh my God, way too much.
But once again, all those doors. So locking people into the studio, making sure that they're safe on that bed, make sure they feel safe is important.
Controlling access is what I hear you saying is like really
controlling
important.
access. So number one thing that people will talk about is when I was like, hey, what makes you feel safe in your studios? They like, oh, I lock the doors.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So do you have ability to lock the front doors, the back doors, all the doors, or just your studio doors? Right? Can you lock all the doors? Next thing is putting safety locks on the door. So now we have the ability for like Ring camera lights. You know, we have like little Ring and they have lights that just automatically light up and motion sensors and cameras that record you and all the things. Somebody else mentioned a magnetic lock, which was actually fairly inexpensive. She said it was like $400.
What's that?
So she says that she has, it's behind her desk. And what happens is that she has a button and she just pushes it and it's a magnet.
Mm.
And so when she pushes the button, it demagnetizes and the door just opens and closes. And it works.
Like where you can like buzz somebody in kind of thing.
Yeah. And she says it's goes to magnetic lock and she has it for her front door and her studio door. So she has 2 different locks. And she says the best money she ever spent.
Mm. That makes me, I mean, this is like sort of on brand, but didn't Matt Lauer have like something?
Yeah, probably.
Like
He's very creepy like that. Yeah, probably did. He's like, oh, my magnetic locks, sweet.
Predators always be predating.
But we can learn from them.
Yeah.
And take from them.
Yeah.
I was surprised by how many people did not do what I did, which I always made sure that I was in a space where I had other people in the studios around me at late hours.
Mm.
So my space, although I complained about them many times, Mike, I was in a music studio where people next door to me had crazy hours just like I had. I was almost never alone in my building.
Mm-hmm.
They might not have always been able to hear me scream because they were, you know, in recording studios, but I knew that someone would eventually find me. And somebody would probably hear me eventually, right? But I knew that I was never alone in the building. Like I could say that there was always cars, so it didn't look like it was like I was isolated.
Right.
It always looked like it was busy. There were people coming in and out, you know. Also, I didn't keep regular hours, which is a big one.
Well, and I think that's easier to do when you are like a sole proprietor kind of thing where you can just, you know, come as the clients are there. But that would be way hard to do if you were like a walk-in kind of business.
Right. And I know that is something that a few other people had mentioned that they're like, well, I hear that. And so that women even have to have this conversation with each other is bonkers, right? But I hear that that predators watch you and therefore if you have unusual hours, they can't actually hunt you.
Yeah. Yeah.
These are the conversations that are happening about how to be safe as a woman, as a solo entrepreneur.
I mean, truthfully, like that's why I watch so much true crime and listen to true crime because I want to, again, knowledge for me makes me feel like I'm in control. I want to know what the, you know, awful ways that people act so that I could be one step ahead of them. And that's so true though, about having a different schedule and keeping a different schedule so that someone can't follow you. That's awful. Oh my God.
Right?
Yeah.
And when I read this, I was like, I mean, I had a really crazy schedule and that was just because that was the nature of my schedule. But that other people actually plan it that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it hurt my soul a little bit.
It just sucks.
You know, and women, if you're listening out there, or anybody who's just listening, who just doesn't feel safe, you know, we hear you. This is going to be a hard episode, but I think it's a really, really vital one. Okay. Mm-hmm. How many people have guns is absolutely mind blowing to me. I mean, I keep a Taser, but I just would have never thought about keeping a gun in my studio. To me, that's a little hard, but a lot of people have them. And I learned which guns were apparently the easiest to keep in your studio and the smallest and best for women. So I'm going to read them to you. The 6 Hour P238, the Glock 43 9mm, the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard Edition.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
The LC9. Well, I had a 6 Hour P238 for years. It's great. It has very little kickback, which I really like. And the handle's really nice. It's good for people who have really small hands.
Elf hand?
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm sure estheticians really do like it. I liked it because it just didn't have very much kickback. And the slide goes back really well. Like the slide is very easy. I have no idea
what you're talking about.
It's a very easy slide. The Benson 380 is also a very popular one. And it's not very expensive. So
the Beaker 370.
Yeah. And also a lot of people talk about how they don't keep live ammunition, but they do keep rubber ammunition. So that way it doesn't kill, but it does hurt like the devil and it can maim easily.
Yeah. I mean, ask any of the protesters from last summer. It definitely can maim.
But there are a lot of people who are just like, I do keep live ammunition because like if somebody's coming after me, I'm going to kill them.
Yeah.
You shoot to kill. But there were many estheticians who were like, no.
Oh, yeah. You know, obviously. Yeah. I had never even thought of that as an option. But, you know, if you're, the way I see it as a non-gun owner, non-gun educated person, so this is going to come across as like super, like I'm acknowledging I don't know what I'm talking about. You know, but you bring a gun out and the other person has a gun, like you better be ready to use it. So rubber bullets, while they will slow somebody down, it's an interesting idea.
Well, and the other thing is the idea for some people were like, somebody who's coming in to hurt me, they might not have a gun. They might not have a weapon. They may not think that I have a weapon. But as soon as I pull out a weapon, they're going to think twice about doing anything.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that I can shoot and feel comfortable shooting them.
Yeah.
But maybe I don't want to kill them.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so
I was going to say, speaking of weapons, I was looking at, you guys, this true crime obsession goes very deep, police reports. And I would say like 90% of people who get arrested with drugs also typically have guns on them as well. So, you know, in America, this idea that like all guns are registered, not true. And there's a lot of guns out and about.
Yeah, it's true.
Have you ever had to use your Taser?
No. Luckily, I've never had to use Lucy, my Taser. I did have to show her twice. I did have to pull her out and like so usually I'd be like, hey, I have Lucy, my Taser, and I'll tase your balls. And that would be enough. Yeah, that'd be enough.
Oh my God. Do you want to tell us the story?
So the first time I had to bring out Lucy was this guy was just being very inappropriate to me on the bed. He was just like, you know, so some dudes, they'll get like a little bit of an erection because like they get nervous or, you know, they're uncomfortable. I mean, they just happen. Like Woody's happen, like whatevs. But he was clear to me that he was enjoying the pain. And he was like, well, you know, you can just leave me alone in here to take care of business if you want. And I was just like, oh, fuck no.
Oh my God. And
I was like, this is not going to continue happening. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take out Lucy and you're about to see what the fuck happens when I taste people's balls. I pulled out Lucy and I put it down. I'm like, and if you're into that, I'm like, I can call the fucking police.
Okay, I was going to say, what do you do if he's into it?
And that brings up what happens next, which is I keep the Burbank PD on speed dial.
Yeah.
I also have a good relationship with the Burbank PD, whereas I have two of them that I know very well, which, by the way, the Burbank PD, not maybe the nicest police officers in the country, but I make sure that I have a good relationship with them because I might have to call them and they have a 4-minute call time to my location.
Yeah, they're really fast.
Yeah. And I am very lucky like that. but I have them on speed dial. And I also know that the words to say to the Burbank PD, which is almost to anyone, is, I feel threatened. I want you to learn those words, people. If you say, I feel threatened, because they're going to be like, well, is something wrong? You're like, I feel threatened.
Okay.
I feel threatened is actually what you need to say if something is going down.
Okay.
So that's the world that's happening. Those are the magic words that get things done.
That is good to know. Okay, so controlling access. I think also an undercurrent that's kind of come up from everything that you have talked about so far is really trusting yourself and your intuition. I think that, because I know this has happened to me as well, like things come up and they feel creepy and you're like, no, I'm just being weird, or I'm just being dramatic, or I'm just being sensitive, when in reality, like there is something going on in this situation and you should trust your gut and do something about it. Whether that's telling someone they need to leave or, you know, calling the cops, whatever it is. Like, how many stories have we heard where someone's like, well, you know, I was getting weird vibes, but I thought it was rude, you know?
Right. I mean, you do have to trust your gut. And I think that when we don't, that's when we're having, I mean, it's hard. Have you ever had a time where you like looked at someone and thought to yourself, well, maybe I'm just being sensitive or crazy, or we've talked about before where you like, you smile because you think you're supposed to be polite, but really inside you're like, this person's making me feel so uncomfortable.
Yes. Oh my God. So I used to work at the Hollywood Bowl. I started when I was in high school and then continued in the summers when I came home from college. And I mean, you're customer service basically. So like you're trying to be, you know, super duper polite. And people were just so fucking awful and super creepy and way too drunk always. There's something about being outside where people just like drink way too much. And I was almost like the gatekeeper for the front section, which,
oh man, that's the worst section too.
5'1". Yeah. I also like 18.
5'1", cute blonde.
Yeah.
You know.
I still remember, what was the show? It's probably like Rolling Stones or something. And this dude comes up. I asked for his ticket. He is clearly fucking drunk and literally grabbed me by the pussy.
What?
I know. And I was just like in shock. And then he like turns away and like runs away. And in that time too, I wish I just like punched him in the paw.
But it's so hard because you like don't know what to do. Like, how is this even happening?
Yeah. What do I do? Like, what happens here? And I think, yes, my favorite true crime show, My Favorite Murder. It's a podcast. Highly recommend. If you also are a murderino, please hit me up. They have this catchphrase they say all the time, fuck politeness. Yes. And I think the more often we can do that, where we don't like, oh, well, I have to be the good girl, or I have to be polite, or I have to be kind, good customer service. Like your safety over a Yelp review, like it's no comparison. It doesn't matter.
By the way, I have a crazy bad Yelp review from the crazy lady who's probably scared me more than anybody else. And I had a client who was a sociopath. Yes. So, which I shared with Alex as a client.
Yeah. Well, okay. So that was another thing for those of you who go to people's houses.
Yes.
Like, let's talk about ways you keep yourself safe. So this client as well, you didn't tell me that they were a sociopath at the beginning.
They're probably actually a full psychopath, but we'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yes. But afterwards we were having a conversation. I was like, this person is like weird. Okay. So ways I keep people safe. This person lived in my neighborhood within walking distance from my house. I drove because I didn't want them to know that I lived within walking distance or want to be followed or anything. And I'm talking about like less than 5 minutes walking from my house. Okay. Super close. So I drove, I texted my husband. Oh, Ella's like, I think I would like to go outside now. Oh, Ella. Tia, one moment.
There are lots of things we do actually to stay safe when we go to people's houses. Also, you know, I go to studios all the time and I make sure that I don't keep anything on me that like tells anybody there like where I'm from. Same thing.
Yeah. So also texting someone like before you go in or go out. So I, would text my husband, hey, I'm, going to this person's house. I should be done in an hour. Like, I'll call you when I'm done. So that if it goes beyond, and he even would, he's great. Like 10 minutes past, he's like, hey, are you okay? I'm like, oh, sorry, we were talking or whatever.
Right.
What was the other thing I did?
I sometimes leave my phone on. So like I'll call somebody and be like, hi, I'm going to keep you on speaker while I'm just like walking to my car.
Yeah.
In case something happens, I'm just going to keep you on speaker.
You know, right. Whitney Cummings, the comedian, she, I don't know where exactly the parking lot is for the Comedy Store in Hollywood. It's a super famous comedy club. And she always was posting on stories like, all right, I'm walking down this really fucking creepy alley. And I guess if you guys see this, like I'm still alive. I haven't died.
And it's really creepy. It's in Hollywood.
So creepy.
It's super creepy. It's super
so creepy. Yeah. But also, I mean, this brings up another point too. I know we're talking about safety and spas on social media. I know that privacy is really important for people on social media. And the best piece of advice I got was years ago. And this person, it was Hillary Rushford. And she was like, treat your account when it comes to privacy. I want you to think now, like, what would you feel comfortable sharing when you had 1 million followers? Regardless of where you're starting now, do you really want people to know where you live and what neighborhood you live in and where you are at the moment? Like, I'm not Justin Bieber, but I like to act as if I'm Justin Bieber, in that if I'm doing stories when I'm walking down the street, I intentionally fill the frame with my face so that you can't see any identifying things. And I don't say like, oh, I'm right outside my door or whatever. I'm sure anyone could kind of at least get within a, 1 mile radius of where I live based on what's in my stories all the time. But I make sure not to make it super obvious, like where I live.
Yeah. That is true. That is true to feel safe. I mean, most people are going to know where your spa is. Most people are going to have your phone number. Yeah. So I have a story. The next person that I was the most scared about that I took out a restraining order on was a client who came to see me a few times, and I was always really uncomfortable with her. Also a female, by the way. I was super uncomfortable with her. And she would like kind of call me, like she would like pseudo call me a liar about things. And I'd be like, I don't understand. Like, she's like, are you sure you did my eyebrows today? I'm like, are you trying to like gaslamp me? Cause like, seriously, you were just here while I did your eyebrows.
That's so weird.
Yeah. And I started like just kind of pushing her off my book. And it was when I was a newer esthetician. I probably had a business for like 3 years. And I really didn't like her. She really creeped me out. And things that she would say were just really inappropriate. And then she would do things like, this is a true story. She came once, she said, can I use your bathroom? And I was like, I mean, yeah, that's what it's there for. Go ahead and use it. And she was, yeah, I just need to put some semen up inside me right now. And I was like, what? And I mean, if you have to do that, why are you telling me? And like, what?
Why? So many questions.
I mean, I'm like, what? And I was just like, what? I literally was like, what? And that was when I was like, I don't want to see her anymore. Right. And I was like, I am done. We've had so many, this is it. I'm finished. And so I gave her the conversation when she went to come and rebook, where I was like, you know what? I just don't have room on my book for you anymore. And she was like, I don't understand. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just really busy. There's no room on my book for you anymore. Right? She took it horribly. She started a bunch of fake accounts on Yelp. She had her friends write bad reviews for me. She Yelp hazed me. And I took it, and I was like, at some point, it's just going to go away. And I was super stressed about it. And I did some really crazy stuff that like, I'm very ashamed of, where like I contacted Yelp and I was like, I don't know, you should get rid of her. It's terrible. Well, I had that point in time, I had a Burbank PD cop who was one of my clients. And he's like, you need to do a restraining order on this girl, because this is the kind of behavior where like it escalates. Right. And I was like, I don't know. That seems kind of intense. And he's like, nope. This is what it is. You need to go do it. I'm going to take you down to the police station right now. We're going to take care of it. And I was like, I mean, if you think so, I mean, this is what you do for a living. Okay. And so I did. And then about 3 days later, I get a pictured email where she's standing outside of my apartment.
What the fuck?
And she's like, your apartment is so cute. I wish I was inside it.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, oh my God, mother of God. She knows where I live.
Which is not public information.
Right. And I'm just like, what the fuck? And I called my Burbank PD person. He's like, okay, well, now we can take steps. And he took steps. And essentially, she was warned, which, by the way, restraining orders are like kind of like whatever. But she
something where you can charge him with after the fact.
Yeah. And essentially it's like they get a warning and a fine first. And like, so she got a warning and a fine to prove that's serious. And the hazing got worse on Yelp. But I could go to Yelp with my restraining order and be like, hi, I'm pretty sure this is the person. And they could take you to her review and nobody else's. But, but I get sweaty just thinking about it now. And it continued on for almost a year where she would, I would like bump into her in stores because like, I'm pretty sure she was following me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure so I was
like, she would try to talk to you in the stores and stuff.
She wouldn't talk to you, but she'd be like looking at me. Like she'd stare at me and I'd be like, what is wrong with this chick? Seriously, I just do facials.
Whoa.
Like I just do facials for a living. Like, what is your drama? You're so fucking crazy.
Oh my gosh.
And that's when I was like, all right, so people can be insane and a little bit crazy, and you just need to really be mindful of that. Right? Yeah. So by the way, I've only been scared of one dude ever. It's always chicks.
Always women. Wait, you said there was 2 instances where you brought out your taser. So we heard of one. What was
the second instance, what I brought out my taser was I was doing work alone on a Saturday, and I heard like a ruckus in the hallway. And I was like, that's weird. I hear like a ruckus in the hallway, but understand that I'm working in a recording studios happen there. So like bands are always like with machines and drum kits and all this stuff. So like I usually listen and I'm like, oh, whatever, leave it alone.
Well, it's also too, it's a building with like 3 tenants in it. So it's not like a huge building.
Yeah. It's
one shared hallway.
Like, but it's got a really long hallway.
Down the middle. Yeah.
And I'm like, I hear like a ruckus in the hallway, and I'm going to go back in time for a second. And at one point in time, this place has been broken into. I had done a whole facial while the building was being broken into and never noticed. Okay. So that is important to understand that that's what can happen in this building. And I'll never know.
Right.
All right. So I'm like, there's something going on in the hallway. It's weird. And so what usually happens is I have a front door and then I have a treatment room door. And so I walked into my treatment room so I could kind of listen down the hallway a little better. And with that, somebody comes through my front door, which is not locked because I'm like, I'm here alone. I don't care. And it's a Saturday. Who's even here? Nobody's here in the building, by the way, but me. And this guy walks in.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, hi, can I help you? And he's just like, he's obviously probably homeless, which I mean, in LA, he could be just a hipster or could be a producer. Who knows?
Goes both ways.
It could be any. He looked very homeless. And I was like, can I help you? And he's like mumbling. And he's like, I'm looking for someone. And I'm like, who are you looking for? And I keep my taser in a cabinet right next to my bed. So I kind of move towards my bed and open the door and I grab onto Lucy. And I'm like, what can I help you with? And he's just like, I'm looking for someone. And his eyes are getting kind of wild. And I'm just like, I don't know if I can help you. And he's just like, well, she's supposed to be meeting me here and I can't find her. And he's just like kind of like crazy. And he's like spittles coming everywhere. And I'm like, you might have the wrong building. Who were you looking for? And we kind of go back and forth a few times. And then he starts coming at me and I literally pull out my taser. I'm like, listen, I don't want to do anything bad to you, but you're really scaring me. I need you to leave. And he like stops and he's like, I don't mean to scare you. I'm sorry. And I'm like, I don't think you mean to scare me. I'm so sorry. Please walk away. And he's like, I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to scare you. I'm leaving now. And so he walked out and he walked down the hall and he walked out of the building and that was that. And so I was like, but I sat down and I was like, holy shit, what if I didn't have a taser? Would I have died? Like, I don't know. Or was he really just like, I didn't mean to scare you?
Yeah. I mean, I do think like being forceful, standing your ground in the sense of like, you need to leave right now.
Yeah.
You know, and like staying grounded in that and trying not to let your own energy escalate can be helpful in some situations. Obviously, I mean, I would say neither one of us really knows what it's like to be, you know, seriously threatened with someone coming into our space trying to physically injure us. But I think for so many of these other situations of just being forceful and firm, you need to leave. I really like what you said, like, you're scaring me, you need to leave.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's when he seemed to have really taken, like, he did seem to take it very seriously, which is why there's a part of me that was like, I probably shouldn't have pulled on my taser. But I was just so scared.
Yeah, you're like, I'm not fucking around.
Yeah, I was just like, I'm just so scared. And I think that he might be a little unhinged.
Yeah.
And sometimes with unhinged people, like, you can't talk sense to them.
No.
And I'd rather him be on the ground, electrocuted, than at me with anything, because he was not a small man. But it is, I mean, it is scary. It can be scary. And it reminds me that it can be scary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now with tasers, because you recommended a taser to me that I haven't gotten, of course. But what was your tips on tasers?
So tasers, so I like a taser that has a double action. So it is a taser that both has it has prongs that come out, and then it still once it's shot its load essentially. It still has like prongs that you can tase a second time. Mm-hmm. So it has like an in-person taser where you can like tase when you're close up. Mm-hmm. And the reason why is a lot of people don't realize this, but tasers, if somebody's really heavy or big or, you know, up on something, one tase is not going to do the job. It's not going to put them down.
Right.
Okay. Even a close-up tase is not going to do the job. Also, a lot of these personal tasers where they're just, you hold them and you kind of tase them in person, where you like come close to them. You have to be really close to them. You have to be within their like grabbing range. Right. I don't ever want to be in somebody's grabbing range if I don't have to be. Mm-mm. You know, my goal is I'm going to tase you. I'm going to run like hell. Because honestly, you know, we learn all the self-defense stuff, but really most self-defense is run like hell, get away. You don't want to be there. Mm-hmm. So
and have you taken a self-defense course?
I've taken a couple. It's been a while. I mean, you take them in college, I think, a bunch in college, but it's been a while. It's probably been since college. And I did some Krav Maga stuff with one of my clients was a Krav Maga instructor. And, you know, she did close quarter Krav Maga for like near my table. It was almost all near my waxing table. So like in case something should happen near my table.
But that's also just, you know, it's being prepared. It's being prepared for, I think, you know, unfortunately we live in a time where the likelihood, it's making me sick to even say this, that someone's going to walk in and possibly shoot you in the movie theater, at school, at your place of work, in the spa. Like, it's already fucking happened. It can happen again. And this isn't to say live your life in fear. It's just like, be prepared.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of good self-defense stuff, there's amazing stuff on TikTok. If you want to go and find some good self-defense stuff, there are some really good people that I follow on TikTok where I'm like, oh, that's a really good move. I forgot that one. That was a really good one.
Oh my gosh.
So look up self-defense. Look up hashtag self-defense.
You should post these in your stories too, for those of us who don't want to go onto TikTok because then we get sucked in like 5 hours.
Okay. I'll make sure I start posting them because there are some really good ones on TikTok that I follow that are really, really good. So I think that's primarily, you know, pick a good location, So locations that you pick as well. It doesn't have to be like a super shishi place, because any place can be dangerous. Any place can be dangerous, right? But if you are picking a location, you know, try to pick one that has lighting. If you don't have lighting, you can also ask the city to put in lights. A lot of people don't realize that, but you can ask the city to put in lights. You can put in lights yourself. Putting in like motion sensor lights is so easy these days.
It's super easy, yeah. So
easy. And a lot of them are solar powered nowadays. So you don't even have to you don't even have to put up electrical. You know, it's surprisingly simple.
So simple. You know, keeping your doors locked, if that's something you want, like even a Ring doorbell, like you were saying before, will allow you to see who is at the door before you let them in. So it's true.
There's board away too. That's great.
There's a lot of inexpensive technology. It can make it happen.
Right. Absolutely. You know, and it can be hard. Like, I mean, I'll be straight with you. The reason why that crazy guy walked into my studio is because I didn't have the front door locked. And I don't always. I was in a place that I felt was very safe. You know, so I often did not lock my door. It's a Saturday at like 2:00 in the afternoon.
Right.
You can get killed at any time. That's what you learn. at any time.
To be a business owner.
I know, especially as women, it's hard.
Well, and like online business doesn't make you safe from stalkers and stuff like that.
It's probably
grateful
worse.
that I haven't had to experience that. But again, it's because I have taken steps to keep my online identity. It's not hidden. My God, my social security number is on the internet already.
Who's isn't right now?
Right, pretty much. But just being smart about how you share information. Even something as simple as like people sharing their vaccination cards, like that's an identification number that links back to you and your information, or sharing pictures of your license plate. Like, don't.
Yeah. I try not to do that. The vaccination card's a good one. So guys, if you want to do like a vaccination thing, they give you like a little tiny vaccination thing. They give you like, when you're getting ready to leave, they give you like a 10-minute reminder, a 30-minute reminder card. Use that one instead.
Yeah.
Or like it'll be like, I got vaccinated. Yeah.
Have you gotten your first shot yet?
Yes, I did. Right? I'm getting my second one on hopefully my birthday. So
which is coming soon.
I know. It's on its way, guys. We'll see how it goes here in Vegas.
Well, I've signed up for that thing to be told when I could get one, and I've heard nothing. So,
well, you sometimes have to be a little proactive about it.
Yeah, no, I'm at the end of the line.
Everyone be proactive. And by the way, many states, guys, if you are an esthetician, you count as frontline workers right now. So you're like support. So if you want yours, you might very well be able to get yours in many states. Man, 2020, 2021, if you're not worried about a virus, now we're worried about like violent. And just like, y'all, I'm tired. So tired. It is hard. But there's a lot of good things out there that we can think about. The sun is out. The sun is out, and
unemployment
is out. People got a $1,400 check.
Have you gotten yours yet?
I don't get one. We make too much money.
My parents already got theirs, and that's the nice thing about being retired. I'm like, come on, you guys, come on.
I got a PPP, so I'm really excited because I have money to invest in my business again.
Yes,
which is exciting. All right, guys. Well, I know this was a little bit of a downer, but hopefully it helped you and it's made you think about kind of ways to protect yourself and your business. And, you are thinking about supporting, other spas and spa people. And I know we didn't get deeply into kind of the politics on this particular shooting, but we do have an episode all about ways to post and amplify information, and you can find that one. I'll post it right up there.
Yeah. Which actually, you remind me of something you and I were texting back and forth about this topic that we wanted to talk about, is that in the spa industry, so many of your, the things that you do are influenced and or come exactly from Asian culture.
Yeah.
And so this is an opportunity for us as white people and white women specifically to just, if you're like, well, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to say, just say like, this is fucked up. This isn't right. And even if the media isn't necessarily saying that this is, racially motivated or a hate crime, like, yes, it was. Yeah. And all of us benefit from, or all of us being white people benefit from different things that are set up into place, which is like white supremacy in action. So anytime that we can just like, this is not right, I do not stand for this. Like, let me do something. Let me connect people. Let me educate myself, and then talk to the people I, share home with about how this isn't right. Like, those are things that we can do to break this cycle so that future generations aren't going to have to be afraid to go to a fucking spa without getting shot.
Right. And just speaking up. So I know with Alex, so I posted on my feed about how I felt about the shooting. And I then wanted to post a little bit more in my story. And I had to go to Alex and be like, I feel really uncomfortable because of trolls. And I'm afraid about what I'm going to say. And is it okay? And she's like, here, do this as well. And I'm like, okay, thank God. Because it's scary to post. I understand. It's scary to post. I know. It's scary. But you do it anyways. And the reason why is because to not post and to be silent is to say, I'm okay. I'm okay with what's going on. I'm part of the problem. So by standing up and saying, I am with the people. I'm showing you that I noticed what was happening and I have a voice, and my voice stands with you.
Yeah.
Even that's all you're saying. At least everyone around you knows where you stand. Right? So, if you don't stand for something, what do you stand for?
Nothing.
That's right.
Is that from
everything we learned from Hamilton?
Oh my gosh. Yes. My God.
We have an episode about that too.
So we want to hear how Hamilton. No, we
know how much Hamilton you love Hamilton, because we do too.
We love Hamilton. But what are other ways that you keep yourself safe in your spa, and things that you have had to learn so that we can share? Because connection and sharing our education and like what we've learned is how we can help keep each other well informed and safe. So send us a DM or tag us on Instagram. The show is at Skinfessional. Sybil is at Your Skin Fitness Expert, and I am at Hala for Mala. Hit us up. Let us know anything, questions, comments, whatever. You can also leave us a voice message. Drop it into our box.
Yes, you can. The phone number is 818-473-5277. Guys, I can't wait until we hear from you. We'll see you next week.
And until next week, we should probably keep our secrets to ourselves, yeah?
I'm gonna tell you something. So they're doing HVAC work right now, and I really was afraid for just a second that something was gonna fall through my ceiling. For just a second, I was like, I'm a little concerned something is gonna fall through my and die. Okay. So, until next week.
Keep your secrets to yourself.
Unless you're telling us.
Okay, bye.
Bye.